Max Martinez is May's love interest, or I should say it's the other way around because May is like not really paying attention to anybody. Like I said, she kind of kept to herself. Um, with the character of Max, it really helped bring the story together. Like, I don't know if you've noticed, like when you write your characters, they bring their own energy, they bring their own style, their own attitude. We are really not creating it. We're basically being like scribes. We're writing down what we hear, see, and feel from these characters that are coming out of our imagination. I know it sounds crazy. People may think that we're crazy, but we're not crazy. This is the gift of being a writer. You're gonna do stuff like this, and you're not nuts. You don't need any drugs. This is perfectly normal. So Max Max's energy is almost, I wouldn't say opposite to May's, but he's more outgoing. He's more of like an extrovert. She's an introvert. And he is he just adores her. This is the funny thing is an original when I originally wrote this story, I didn't even have a description for what Max looked like because it was I'm writing by hand in notebooks. I'm in the 6th grade and I know absolutely nothing about writing. My friend taught me how to put quotations about around what people are saying. That was as far as we knew, and to just kind of break up it into little paragraphs, and you said, like that's all we knew, and that's all she, to teach me. And but that's all I needed, and I took off, and we would be back and forth exchanging notebooks on our stories. So it was really cool. Um, with Max, the energy that he brought, what made him memorable is he has this, despite he comes from a wealthy family, he's well to do, he don't have no financial worries, he's living his best life ever, or so it appears. But behind the scenes, he has his own issues. So now in the original story, I had him as he was living on his own in a house, which is why it's completely ridiculous because he's 14 years old. What 14-year-old is going to be living alone in their own house? And how it was is his father was an alcoholic, and his uncle was the one that would come in and check on him and pay the mortgage, pay the bills, and take care of the house, and just had him living there, which is kind of weird, but that's what I wrote. This is the 14-year-old April, so don't judge me. Um, I didn't really have an image for Mac, not until I rewrote the book. And this is the crazy thing. I lost all of my original writing to this story. Just to tell you, like, when you're a writer, these stories really live in our heads. I was able to rewrite this whole entire book from memory. It was almost like if it was always there. I can't even say memory, like it was always there, always. I just needed to put it on paper. So I didn't need to go and hunt down old notebooks or nothing. I had this story from A to Z in my head. It's still in my head. So if I were to lose everything today and I had to rewrite that book, I can. Easy. No problem. I could do it in my sleep. I wrote this first book, I wrote over 100,000 words in 2 weeks. And and that's just to tell you, like, when you're passionate about what you do, it's gonna come easy and natural to you. That's how you know that's your gift. So with Max, what made him memorable is how he loved May despite his age. So a teenage boy at this time. Now, I'm gonna in the current issue, of course, they are a lot older. Not a lot older. They're teenagers, but they're like 16, 17, or about to be 18, 19, something like that. So they're getting ready to graduate from high school, basically. Um, they're ready, like Max's uncle is actually preparing him to be a man. He's been preparing him to be a man. So I kept the part with the father. The father is in at this point in his story, when the story begins, he's an ex-alcoholic. We'll get into all that later. I didn't think I put Maxwell on here, but all these little things, these background stories help build the character. So the thing that really stood out with me with Max was really how he adored May, how he he didn't hesitate to risk everything to rescue her. It was just never a question for him. So that's what made him memorable because who wouldn't want a guy that's like that, you know? Anyway, so that's my character Max, and finding something memorable about him. Now, the thing with him, he has his physical. What makes him physically unique is, um, I made him as like you see here, fair skin. He's mixed. He actually, we don't know what ethnicity his mother is. That's another story because, and we'll get to that later. But every character has to have a background, right? His father's from Trinidad. Um, his father's his father stems from like his bloodline stems actually out of Venezuela into Trinidad and then into the United States. They migrated to the United States. They are multi-billionaires, and um, their background story is that the family background story is that the grandfather created he was into technology, created a new technology and patented it, and he sold it, and it that's how the family started acquiring wealth. And he had all these ideas for different technologies, and he acquired so much wealth that it's like they have a continuing legacy of wealth in their family. So um that's their background story. So this is why Max is well to do, right? So um he's this wealthy teenage boy living in this small town in Central Florida, and with all the girls that are bum rushing him, the one that he wants is the one that's pretty much ignoring him. So that's Max.